Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And it's only been like 2 days since we last recorded. And I honestly already feel like a different person.
You know, we are different people. A lot's happened since then. A whole weekend.
Yeah.
How was it? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I mean, it didn't really exist. I worked both days of the weekend.
Right.
So there's that. But it was fine. For some reason today, I woke up. I had a hard time waking up, but then once I was awake, I was fine. Lunchtime, Teresa and I were talking about how we were actually having a really good day, and we both felt really awake, and we were I don't know what's wrong with us. It's a good day.
Nice.
And then I cried an hour ago. So
well, life is about balance.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's all good. Yeah, I did do a whole lot. I mean, Friday we went and had drinks after work, which was super fun, which may or may not have been the reason we recorded so late Friday and didn't get to our second episode, but it's fine. And then I worked Saturday night. I had my writing group Saturday morning, and then I didn't do anything at all yesterday. Not a thing. Took a nap.
I also took a nap.
And I am not awake today. I have not been awake all day. People keep asking me questions, and I am trying my best. So we'll see what happens.
At one point, a student asked me a question after school today, and I literally took a second, and then I turned and I looked at him. I go, "Are you speaking to me right now? Because I'm going to be completely honest. I am so zoned out of existence that I only think I heard you talk. So we want to try that one more time."
Yeah. I was rewatching Dead Like Me episode for today because I don't trust Friday me's notes. And so retook notes, and every single person in my office thought they needed to talk to me. Every one of them. I started it on my lunch break, and I kept going because I had a few more minutes left. But I was just like, Jesus Christ, I need 5 more minutes, somebody. They had too many things they needed from me today.
We had a snow day Friday, so today we finished our school spirit week, which thank God, because it's been a month of school spirit week. What was your day? Today was dressed like your favorite food.
Ooh.
No, that's the worst dressed down day I've ever heard of in my life. I was thinking of taking a stuffed animal that was a fish and tying it to my back with a scarf and wearing a white shirt and being sushi. But then I didn't have any stuffed animals that looked like fish, and somehow a panda sushi just doesn't seem appropriate. And I was about ready to give up, and then I remembered that I used to work at Dairy Queen.
Nice.
So I just wore my Dairy Queen sweater, and I was a blizzard. But two of my students, one was wearing a red garbage bag with a Doritos logo taped to it and including the nutritional value.
Mm-hmm. Well, you must have it all.
Yeah. And then another one was wearing a banana costume. And these are my 8th grade boys, my favorite humans.
Right.
And we're at the whatever stupid event that we had for the spirit week. And all of a sudden I look and the two of them are slapping each other. And I went off. I was like, "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" And my favorite student just literally turns, looks me dead in the face and was like, "We're having a food fight."
Oh my goodness.
When I tell you, I just about died right there. I couldn't. I was like, every part of me wants to be angry right now, but I'm crying, laughing.
Children.
And then they go, "That's the 3rd time we started fighting just so we can say that."
I won't say I wouldn't do that. It's kind of genius.
Right. I was like, how can I be mad at you for that?
Right. So I don't know what I would go as. I mean, sushi would have been my first thought.
Right.
Aside from that, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking like get like a tutu and be like ice cream ruffles,
Cute, cute.
and then just
Most of the kids,
pointy. Nope.
there were some good ones like the Doritos bag and the banana.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly people just wore regular clothes and pretended that they had dressed up like food.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of a shame, really.
Could have done marshmallows, put cotton balls all over you. I mean, you should wear clothes under that too, but
Well, yeah. The problem was everything required either too much DIY or buying things that I did not have.
right. Fair.
So I was like, what do I already own?
Yeah. I think that is a great outfit.
I was going to come prepared with all of my celebrity Big Brother gossip to talk about on this episode, but I didn't finish Friday's episode.
You know, it's okay.
So I don't even know who the first person to get eliminated was. So I'm useless.
Ooh.
Just straight did nothing. I was like, yeah, cool. I know nothing.
You know?
But that also means that if I didn't catch up on Celebrity Big Brother, I've caught up on nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. No RuPaul's Drag Race. Nothing. I'm behind on everything.
Well, you know what? You are caught up on.
Ooh, what a segue this time.
Thank you. I try. You are caught up on Dead Like Me, season 2, episode 10.
That is very true.
Death Defying.
Was that what it was called?
That is what it was called.
I have no idea. That's
menacing.
A terrible title for this episode.
I know. I was trying to think. I was like, I don't know where this came from.
No, I can't.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
None.
Nope.
So it was released September 26th of 2004. I'm sure it's a fine day. It was rated 8 out of 10, which is around the same amount it's been rated this whole season.
Yep, pretty good.
In the 8 range. The number one song was Goodies.
Still, all right.
Still. And the number one movie was The Forgotten, which I do not know, but it had Julianne Moore in it because I saw her on the trailer.
Oh, no. Okay, I haven't watched it, but I've always wanted to watch it. It's Julianne Moore plays this lady whose kids die in a car accident, and then she wakes up the next day, and everyone says that she never had kids, but she
Maybe I did watch this. This sounds like something oh no, it sounds like the plane movie with oh my god, Jodie Foster.
Oh,
it's like the plane movie. I forgot what that's called too.
No, yeah, but this one, so her kids are like gone, and everybody's saying that they didn't exist.
That's what happened with Jodie Foster. They told her she got on a plane with her daughter, and then her daughter like went to the bathroom and never came back, and everyone was like, "You didn't have a kid." And so it's the same concept, but I watched that one, not the Julianne Moore one.
Okay, I think. Let me just make sure that I'm not completely incorrect.
If you're like, it was 2004, the title, everything sounds right.
Yes. No, yeah. It's her son disappears, but then apparently he never existed. Only he definitely did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Same movie.
Perfect.
The director was David Grossman, who we are familiar with. We talked about him last week, that he directed My Room, Vacation, and then The Escape Artist, which was last Wednesday. The writer, Carl Gadgis, and
it's Gajus, isn't it? Is there a K in there? Gajewski?
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds right. I definitely have had him write an episode for me.
He wrote the Rite of Passage to the Rockstar episode and the Shallow End, which was about drowning in the pool.
Right.
And then Brian Fuller was listed. And
was he listed as excerpts or?
No, he was just listed.
Did it say it didn't say created by? It just said.
Nope. I meant to look that up because I also was confused.
Huh.
So I don't know if he like
Hmm.
popped back in
I mean, that doesn't sound like something he would do.
because I don't think we didn't have any flashbacks in this episode of episodes he had done.
Correct.
So
That's so weird.
I don't know.
Uh,
But we had a couple of big guest stars. Dustin Milligan plays Joey, the kid at the DMV.
yes.
Bless his heart. And MK knows him. Yes.
It does say created by.
Does it? Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was very baffled by that.
That's okay. That's fine. I forgot. That's okay. Dustin Milligan. MK knows him from 90210, the remake. And I know him from Schitt's Creek.
Which I did know he was in Schitt's Creek, but I've never seen Schitt's Creek. So,
which is a tragedy because it truly is excellent. Like, you know how I like to skip things that make me cry? I just don't watch them.
Mhm.
I knew the finale was going to make me cry, and I watched it anyways. I bundled and I prepared myself. So I was like, there's no way I'm not watching this last season.
I do feel like I would like it. Like, I feel like the humor is like right up my alley. But again, it has this weird thing where because so many people like it, I find myself incapable of watching it.
I fully understand that. That was me with Twilight. That's why I didn't read the
That's why to this day I still have not watched all of Stranger Things because something about everyone else liking it turns me off.
No, I get it.
Even though I fully liked everything of Stranger Things that I've seen, can't do it.
I feel you. That is a complex we seem to share.
Which is why we do a weird niche podcast that no one listens to.
Exactly. Unless you live in Germany, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Germany. Whoever in Germany is listening, ich liebe dich. That just means I love you in German.
Oh, that's so nice. I also love you, but in English because I don't know how to speak German. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Our other guest star, one of my favorites, is Eric McCormick.
And I tell you how loud my dad was like, Eric McCormick's in this episode? I was like,
I lost my mind. And it was, oh my gosh, so into it.
My favorite thing about Eric McCormick is that he's straight.
I know, isn't it? I also love that about him.
It's like so he is straight, and the guy who plays Cam in Modern Family is also straight.
Yes.
I'm obsessed because I'm like, good for you for being like, because both of their characters are so like over the top stereotypes without being like rude stereotypes. And I'm like, good for you for being straight men confident enough in your sexuality to do that, because I love it. I love to see it.
I do want to say before we move to my next point, if you do not know who Eric McCormick is, he was from Will and Grace.
Oh, right. I guess we should have sort of prefaced.
Should I tell you who he was?
But how do you not know?
Everyone knows.
I just assume everyone's seen Will and Grace.
He's amazing. So there's a new movie coming out that Billy Eichner is directing called Bros, and it's the opposite, where the entire cast is LGBT, but they're playing straight men who have relationship issues. And I'm here for it.
I would love to see that, depending on who does it. Really?
Billy Eichner's doing it.
No. I know Billy Eichner's doing it. I love him, but like depending on who the actors are.
Oh, I didn't look at the full cast yet.
Oh, okay. But I'm sure Billy Eichner it's phenomenal. I'm sure.
He will also be in it, but
of course.
Right. So excellent guest stars. Top notch, favorite so far. Because I love Schitt's Creek and Will and Grace.
Sorry, I'm just eating pizza rolls. It's fine.
But she tried to do it very sneakily, and it was really funny. If you're not watching the YouTube, it made me laugh.
I'll try not to chew ASMR into the mic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, my notes are all over the place. Just wait and see. We're going to be fine. So, we start this episode with, surprise, a monologue from George. And she's talking about, you have to like hold on tight to things or they're gonna be gone. And she said she's scared that she would hold on to someone so tightly that she would get carried away. And I was like, okay, George, that's actually sweet.
No need to read my diary, thanks.
Right? I was like, you who has no heart and no like personality, this was nice.
Yeah.
That was nice. Just had to get her heart broken into a billion pieces and then she becomes a person, I guess. I don't know. I mean, hey,
Well, I think that kind of was the entire point of the episode. Is that it took getting her heart broken into a million pieces for her to be a person.
Right. It just took, how many episodes in are we? Like 20? We have like 5 left. She'll be a person for like 5 episodes. So that's good.
In the movie.
Sorry, we do like your writing mostly, but still.
No.
I've got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's going through all of this because Trip, the love of her life that she's known for 2 days, has ghosted her. And
of course, I wrote, of course he disappeared. He had sad sex.
And she sounds crazy. She talks about her sister who she used to talk to. And if he Googled her at all, this is 2004. We are not in the Stone Age. If he looked up her name, she's supposed to be dead.
Okay, Google, not super common in 2004. Like, it exists.
Ask Jeeves would have found her.
Ask Jeeves would have found her.
He found everything.
Whenever I tell my students I'm older than Google, they don't know how to handle it. Like, listen, we used to not be able to just look things up all the time.
We had to ask Cha-Cha or Jeeves.
Oh my God, Cha-Cha.
Oh my gosh, just threw my notebook. I got so excited.
I forgot Cha-Cha existed. That just unlocked a weird box of memories.
Me and Rachel were very into Cha-Cha. You just sent a quick text and she solved all your problems.
I Cha-Cha'd so much.
It does not exist anymore. I looked it up like this year, last year.
You know what else doesn't exist anymore? Stumble Upon. Do you remember that?
It doesn't?
No.
They had a whole app and you just
I know.
Stories. That's devastating.
It is.
Oh my god.
Rest in peace to all of millennial technology.
R.I.P. the internet circa 2000 2010. Anyway, sorry. Tangent. And we had to have a moment for our beloved lost.
We had to pour one out for the internet.
Pour one out with our water because we're old.
Empty can of Sprite.
Right, yeah. No caffeine. It's too late for that. And oh gosh, I can't even find my notes.
Something about she's crazy. Trip abandoned her, which she deserved too.
So then they go to the diner and she walks in and Daisy's talking about the stalker she used to have. But she's talking about it like it's a fond memory. And
I'm sure for her it was.
I know, he did all these things. And then she said, but she stabbed him. He goes, you killed him. She's like, oh no, I stabbed him right here. It's like, Daisy, what is happening? And they're talking about this because, oh my gosh, my writing is so little. Oh. And because George is talking about, it seems like she's stalking Trip because she went up to the country club, was like looking in the window and stuff and trying to.
Well, and I don't know, George is feeling all kinds of types of ways about this stuff right now because she like aggressively tells Tiffany that she wants revenge for breakfast. And God bless Tiffany. She's just like, we're all out of revenge. And she's like, all right, well then I guess I'll have oatmeal and raisins.
To be fair, that's what I do too when someone asks for something stupid like that. When they're just like, I'll have $1 million. I'm like, we're fresh out. Because do you know how many people have asked me, I'll order $1 million? I'm like, don't have that. I got $1. You want to order some chicken?
I absolutely hate when people ask me stupid things.
Me too.
But like the worst is when they're like, yeah, can I get like an Oreo Blizzard and your number? I'm like, how about never?
How about you can't have either?
Unfortunately, I will make you a Blizzard because my boss will be upset if I don't, but like the number, definitely not.
You know, I don't think my boss would be upset.
No, I don't think your boss would either. My boss at Dairy Queen would have.
Mm-hmm. I don't think either of my bosses would be upset. So, It's fine. So then Roxy comes in, and this is what I feel like I've been talking about all season. So Roxy has the Post-it notes, which we saw because Rube gave them to her at the end of last episode because he had to go off on his journey.
Yep.
And the whole like last season and a half, I know I brought it up before when we were talking about like, it seems like Roxy has less rules. And it seems like, in my opinion, I thought she had less rules because it seems like she's stepping up and she's going to take Rube's place when Rube decides not to be there anymore. And this just like solidified that for me. I mean, he gave her all of the, you know, the tools she needed. So like, he doesn't have to be there anymore, which sucks. But, and I know that he's not in the movie because we talked about it, but like,
yeah,
still sucks. And yes,
I did like this scene because they were talking about George was being all fucking weird, and Roxy's like, "Do you know what the fuck's her problem?" And Daisy's like, "No, I don't know. I have no secrets." And Mason's like, "I have no secrets." And Roxy just goes, "Rube has secrets." And I was
right.
like, "Yes, he does."
And Roxy just kept like cracking him. Like she made him like fill out this form after they did their reef or whatever. And Daisy's like, "I'm not doing that." She goes, "Oh, you don't know how to write?" And she's like, "I do." And she's like, "Oh, I just had to ask because you are an actress." And I was like, burn. Like, yeah. It's like, geez. And then she calls George Peanut and George flips out. She's like, "Don't call me that." Roxy was on one today with like getting in the middle of everything.
No,
So then we pop over to Rube on his journey. And he's at the DMV, which I guess is the first place you go. I go to the courthouse for death records. You go to the DMV for records. Fine. We're different people.
Yeah, but I guess it depends on the town itself, like how big the town is. Because,
but
like,
even so, there's a separate entity that has the death records and whatnot. Aside from the DMV, they usually have a copy of it because they have to hold your like license and whatnot, all that. But like, if you need to pull the records legally, you go through the courthouse or through, I can't remember what they're called, but like Jersey has a guy who keeps up with everything.
Well, because like my cousin was born on my grandma's dining room floor.
Excellent.
It's actually his birthday when this episode comes out. Happy birthday, Tyler.
Happy birthday, Tyler.
He was born on the dining room floor because it was a blizzard and it just was like their car was not great and that's what happened. But the town that he was born in didn't have a hospital. So when they went to do his birth certificate, the like town clerk didn't know what to do because they didn't have birth certificates because no one had ever been born there, like in the time of record keeping.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So,
I think they do have some of those now.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, so I guess it depends on the town and what kind of record keeping they do. Like, I mean, there is obviously probably a clerk, but like the town clerk might be in the same building as the DMV. You don't know.
That's true too. Because I think it's in the Bronx. There's like a DMV inside of like where records are like court records are kept too. And I was like, this is strange. But yeah, so this is where we see Dustin Milligan. What's his last name? Milligan.
I know that guy.
I put, oh my God, is that the guy from Schitt's Creek? That's what I put.
Perfect.
And he seems real stoned out of his mind. He is not the brightest. And he made the funniest comment. Rube's trying to convince him to get these like records out or whatever. And he says something about doing it for America. And he just stops. He's like, "Anything for America, dude." And then goes against the records. I was like, that's like, all right, if that's what works, that's what works. But Jesus Christ. So he's trying to look up records and he has to convince this guy that he can look up the records. Yeah. We have very short Rube scenes throughout.
Yes.
So we're back at Joy and Reggie, and we learn that they're getting groceries delivered, and I put it's the original Instacart.
Okay.
Yes.
This bothered me so much.
Me too.
Because Joy was like, yeah, it'll just save me so much time to have them delivered. And I was like, what time? You don't have a job. What do you do with your time? I literally was like, what does Joy even do with her life other than being thirsty?
You're not wrong. But also, like, he gets there with the groceries and then he puts the groceries away. You don't live there.
This
Get out of my
stranger
cabinets.
just comes into the house.
And he's like hanging out with your kid. No, I'm sorry.
Which,
You can stand
good for
outside that.
Reggie. Reggie's reaction is the perfect reaction in this situation because she is like, yeah, my sister's dead. And he's like, oh, that's so sad. When did it happen? She was like, how did it happen? She was like, she was murdered in this room. And they
She's in
never
the
found
living room.
or in the living room. And they never found the killer. And just stared at
I
him.
thought that was the funniest. And it clearly scared him away, which was excellent. She's like, I'll see you next week. He's like, this isn't my route. I was like, I mean, to be fair, I also would not want this route. Oh gosh. Reggie, I have more to say about Reggie in the future. Her character development has become strange for me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she's an 11-year-old with a dead sister and two really fucked up parents. Her character development is trauma.
Right. But the way that she's portrayed at the end of this episode, I feel like doesn't fit with the way things should go. I'll talk about that at the end, though. I have a
Okay.
You'll see. So then we go to Happy Time. And who else are we talking to but our BFF Crystal? And George walks up to her and she's like, are we the only two single people here? And Crystal just looks at her and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like assume that you were single. She's like, do you have a boyfriend? And Crystal looks up across the room and does this cute little wave. And it's Crystal, the woman who plays Crystal, dressed up in a wig as a man.
With a mustache and
with a mustache.
And a wink.
And it was the funniest thing. I laughed so hard. I think I made another note about this earlier, but I just couldn't get enough of it. But
I was like, Crystal, I was like, I am dead.
No, so that was hilarious. And then she's like, I'm not going to talk to Dolores about this. And then she immediately goes and talks to Dolores about this. It was like, okay. And so she goes back to Dolores' desk and she's like being frustrated again. And Dolores is like, I am active. She said, I just received an email of a sexually explicit nature. And she reads the email and he's like, what is her cat's name? Oh,
Murray. He said, I would like to meet Murray.
Yeah, he said, I would like to meet Murray. And George is like, oh, that's cute. And Dolores is like, oh, that is code. She's like, what? She's like, that is code for something else. And she's like, maybe he just wants to meet Murray.
Or maybe he wants to pet my cat.
Yeah. And she's like, what? And Dolores, oh my gosh, this message looks so crazy. There's so many letters that don't go together. It's like someone just like laid on the keyboard, typed a message, and then laid on the keyboard again. And it's like, what happened? What happened here? Okay. And then we learn that jousting is also good for...
It's an innuendo for sure.
Apparently.
But in this moment, I laughed so hard I had to pause the TV. And my mom and I could not handle it because Dolores says that you should never give up on dating because men are cute, they can't cook, and we just can't help ourselves.
I wrote down the same quote. I was like, you're not wrong.
No. You've never been more right in your entire life.
Yes.
My mom literally looked at my dad and goes, well, you can cook at least.
Man, your mom is savage.
She's like, you can cook. You got that going for you.
God bless. Oh my gosh. That is so funny. I lost it. And then, oh my gosh. So then we're back at Joy and Reggie's, and Joy is on the phone with Clancy talking about when he's going to come pick up Reggie and whatnot. She lies about having a date. And as soon as she gets off the phone, Reggie's like, do you have a date? And she's like, okay, I have a date or whatever. But then she like has real talk with her. And she's like, how do you feel about this? Like, let's talk. And I'm like, where have you been? This is like the first time you've ever asked Reggie how she feels about something. This is how you approach everything that you haven't talked about yet. Like,
healthy relationships.
I was like, what is going on?
I knew something must have been up because my note just said, oh, Joy. I was like,
That's what it was.
I don't know.
She was having some real talk with Reggie. And then Reggie tells her that Clancy and what's-her-face Charlotte broke up.
Oh, yes.
And she's like talking to her about it. And she's like, what do I do if you, she said, do I lie or something if he asked if you have a date? And she says, you lie like a rug. And I laughed so hard at that phrase. I was like,
I didn't understand that phrase. Like, and I do now, obviously, but like when the band Perry was kind of a big thing, they had a song and called The Way You Lie, and it said you lie like a Persian rug on a front porch. And I was like, the fuck does that mean?
It's a great line.
It is a great line.
And I would like to say it all the time. Now, I do not promote lying though, but I want to promote lying just so I can use this phrase.
Yeah, I don't promote lying unless necessary or funny.
Fair. I will promote things that should not be promoted when it's funny.
Yeah, right.
Because you gotta find joy where you can. And so now we have gone back to George, and they're at this. So Mason has been instructed to go with her to her reap, and she. I
don't know. I'm following you. I'm trying to decipher what the F my note means.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. So they're at this reap, and there's this guy who is such a moron. He's like, if he didn't jump, I would have wanted to punch him.
Nope. Got it. I now understand.
And he keeps saying like stupid things. He's like, if there's Grim Reapers here, he's like, tell them I'm sorry. They're going home empty handed. And Mason and George are like, is he talking about us? And he's like, death can't get anyone. And he's like making this big show, and he like moons the camera. And Mason just goes, that's really impolite. I was like, that's one way to say it.
Well, yes, because my note said Grim Reapers, period, weird shit, period, what a freak. But it wasn't until you mentioned the asshole skater that any of those phrases made sense to me.
Yep. And then the Graveling pops up and wakes up the two homeless men who go and steal the mattresses. And this guy jumps off of the building onto the concrete.
Now, here's the thing about that scene. And this has absolutely nothing to do with the scene in terms of like the plot, but it might be the only scene ever in the show that they actually filmed in Seattle, because the way the rain fucked with the grain of that scene pissed me off so much. I was like, the camera is so grainy, but it's clearly rain. So why did they choose this one scene to actually film in Seattle?
Maybe it was just raining in Canada that day.
I mean, maybe. Vancouver's probably a pretty rainy place too. It's close enough to Seattle, but I was mad about it.
Basically neighbors. Yeah, no, I agree. But it was such a ridiculous scene. And then he's like, woohoo, that was awesome. And she's like, you're dead. And he's like, man, it's got to happen sometimes. Let's go on to what's next. She's like, do you know what's happening? He
was an asshole, and she was already very angry.
Right. So,
I combination.
I probably reacted the exact same way she did, to be fair. But he was just such a moron. God bless him. And we go back to Rube, who is still trying to get these records. And he's like, oh, we have a public search. You can just search their name. And he's like, oh, great. That's perfect. And he's like, so where are the boxes? And he's like, oh, these are just after a certain time. I don't remember what he said. And he's like, we went digital like 2 years ago. And Rube goes, what? So Rube's trying to search online for, I think he starts with his daughter's name.
Yeah.
And so he's looking up Rose, and it comes up with 12,400 and something searches. And he's like,
oh, yeah, that's through the whole country.
Yeah. He's like, isn't that cool? And he's like, no, what about this town? He's like, more is better. He's like, no, when you're trying to filter stuff down.
I literally just wrote Joey is so dumb.
Oh my gosh, he's so dumb. And he did say, it's like you live in a world with 12,000 menus and nothing to eat. And I didn't get it.
No.
I was like, am I a moron?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being honest. But Joey got it. And I was like,
if you have 12,000 search results, but none of them are like what you need in that moment, it's like going to a restaurant that has 12,000 menus for you to pick from, but none of them can actually feed you.
But why can't they? You can just have something off of a menu. You can't just pick a different person out of a DMV's list.
No, but what none of those menus are even connected to this kitchen. How do you know? No, you have 12,000 menus. How do you know which one's for this kitchen?
I just picked one, and then they just bring me whatever I ask for.
That's not how kitchens work. They don't have all of that food.
That is how they work.
No, it's not. No single kitchen has 12,000 menus worth of food.
They might. I'm going to find a kitchen that has 12,000 menus worth of food.
Good fucking luck.
You just wait for it. And so
6 Stargates in.
I am holding tight that I hate that metaphor. So then we go back, and Joy and Clancy are chatting, and she tells Clancy that she's asking him about how Charlotte is and if they've got big plans. And he's like, oh, fine. And she starts talking about how things are so drab because he's in such a long-term relationship. I'm like, first of all, this relationship could not have been that long. And he's not been divorced long enough that it's been a real relationship anyways for very long.
I just wrote that they're both so bitter. It's disgusting.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. And so then he starts asking her about bag boy Vince, who's not even her date. And he's so jealous. So then he sees her, like, her earrings and nails done up. And he fakes a phone call very obviously. Like, that is the most obvious fake I've ever seen in my life. And pretends like he gets called into work so she has to cancel her date, which she doesn't, but he acts like it.
I said Joy's date. I wrote Joy's date's going to be canceled because Clancy is a jealous fuck, and I cannot stand it. You don't get to have a girlfriend and then she can't go on a date.
Exactly, especially when you're the reason all this is happening. So I do want to say the camera work in this scene, I feel like this show accidentally mimics other shows. So I know that one time they did the police scene, it was on purpose.
Yes.
The rest of the time, I'm not sure it was. But whenever it was doing the way the camera work was done, it showed her earring to her nails and like it flashed on the faces. It made me really think of like Malcolm in the Middle-esque sitcom filming where they would like go to faces and then they would like, it wasn't all out like it normally is, you know?
Yeah.
It was like zoomed in a lot more. And it was just like the way they made the cuts, it felt more like a different sitcom.
Weird.
And I feel like they pull so many elements from different shows for like 5 seconds and then they back out. It's like, this is not your normal camera routine. And like, I know they were trying to make it dramatic, but that's not, it didn't fit. Like, it felt so out of place to me. And I'm like, you could have portrayed this very differently and it still had the effect you wanted. Whereas this just felt like it was a weird scene. I didn't like it. So then we go. So Reggie is talking to Clancy and he's like, did you tell your mom that me and Charlotte broke up? And she's like, no. And he's like, you know how I feel about lying? And she's like, okay, I told her. I was like, well, that was very fast to break her.
Well, no. Oh, this is what I was talking about on Sunday, where last episode he was like, you know how I feel about cheating. And now he's like, you know how I feel about lying.
I'm like, no.
No.
You don't care about it. That's what, based on everything you've done, that's all we see.
Yeah. You are a liar and a cheater.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. His character is so flat now. Like, it wasn't great before, but it's flatter now. Like, it feels unnecessary to bring him back. It's like they brought him back because he got signed on for so many episodes. Like, he got a contract for so many episodes or something. Like,
yeah, I don't know why they brought him back, but it was not.
It's just so unnecessary. Like, I could see if they brought him back for like the last episode or last couple episodes to like wrap him up or whatever, even though I feel like he was wrapped up. But if they chose to do that, maybe that's fine. But like, this was just, I didn't like it.
Agreed.
Now we go back to Daisy, and she walks to a bar, and people are ordering shots that are on fire. And who but Eric?
Okay, hold on. Before, they're not just ordering shots that are on fire. They're ordering flaming sambuca. Have you ever had sambuca?
No, but I have a fun bar story about sambuca. You tell me yours and I'll tell you mine.
Sambuca is very popular in Caribbean countries.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Dominican, it is very popular. To the point where when the limo picked us up from the airport, which that already sounds like a horror, like we'll just skip over that part of my life. When the limo picked us up to the airport, there was just a bottle of sambuca in the limo. And my ex was like, let's do shots. So,
isn't it like grape? Or like,
no, it tastes like black liquor. No, it tastes like black liquor.
Oh, that's what it is. That's right.
It's like ouzo, which is a Greek liquor. That's the same thing. But like ouzo, sambuca, I just find them both disgusting. Probably because I hate black licorice. But so like, it's like 8:00 in the morning, Christmas Day, doing shots of sambuca in a limo. And it didn't get much better.
It just went downhill from there.
Yeah. What's your sambuca story?
So my story is it was probably November. It was a few months back. And me and Rob, who's this guy from Wells, who's in his 40s, he's been a bartender for ever. And he's great at it. He was a great bartender. This other guy was there with like 10 of his family members. They were like celebrating an engagement or a birthday. I don't even remember. And he ordered, he wanted something, I think he wanted Chambord with Bailey's as shots. No. He wanted, what is it called? The butterscotch one? Butterscotch and Bailey's.
Okay.
It's a shot. It's a real thing. But we don't have butterscotch.
I believe you. I just don't know which.
I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the world knows but me right now. And so we don't have butterscotch. So he was like, do you have sambuca? I was like, okay, we have sambuca. So then he wanted us to do it like floaters. And Rob was like, you can't pour it the way you want it or it's going to immediately curdle.
Yeah.
And this guy is drunk and he's telling me how terrible of a bartender Rob is because he was a bartender for like 4 years and he knows how it works. And he said, and then when I brought the shots to the table, there was literally like 12 shots. And I brought them to the table and he's like, well, I guess we'll have to see how these go because he just didn't even know what he was doing. And I was like, I'm going to punch this guy in the face and I'm going to kick him out of my bar. It's not even my bar, but I'm going to kick him out because I can't deal with him. And then he didn't even tip that well. I was like, if you're a bartender for your 4 years, you were a bartender, whereas Rob's probably been a bartender for 20 years. That's fine.
Yeah.
But gosh, I couldn't deal with him. But also when I think of flaming liquor, I think of you. Because of that time we had our drink at Stardust.
Yes. Yeah. I used to keep bottles of 151 in my freezer in college.
That sounds dangerous.
Oh, I just took shots of it when I was out, like all the time.
Did you light it on fire?
Sometimes.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Please do not catch on fire.
Fun fact, 151 will never freeze. No matter how long it's in the freezer, it
A
can't
lot of
freeze.
alcohols won't.
No, I
Because
know, but
how like
because of the
it can be.
content. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Goodness gracious. Moving on, because I don't know how much more of you I can take right now. And
Listen, I'm old. I'm old and boring now, but 10 years ago, I was a person.
I was never a person, I guess. I don't know. I am just trying my best. So Eric McCormick shows up to the bar and he is hitting on Daisy, and he is the biggest jerk in the playbook. He is typical what you expect, Mr. Cool Guy who shows up at the bar and thinks he rules it.
Yeah.
And I love him so much I wanted to punch him.
Yeah.
I was like,
the thing is,
so good at this.
So he walks away, like she turns him down and he walks away. And I thought that was it. Like I didn't think he was coming back. And I go, this motherfucker got top billing for that.
I know. I mean, it's Eric McCormick though. He had a huge show at the time. Like, I mean, everyone knew him better than anyone else in the show except Mandy Patinkin.
Oh, you mean better than the people on this show? I thought you were saying everybody knew him better than everyone on his show.
And no. Everyone knew him better than everyone on this show, other than
Correct.
So, like, probably would have happened anyways. But
true.
So then we figure out who the mark is, who she's looking for. And every time the Reap is mentioned, I immediately start looking for Gravelings. I'm like, where are they? Where are they going to come from? What are they going to do this time? And it tries to like arm wrestle with him. And I was like, and then that wasn't relevant. Like, I was like, what is this Graveling doing?
No, that's the thing. This man is arm wrestling. And in order to touch him, to Reap him, Daisy calls him over and she whispers something in his ear. And I wrote, I cannot imagine what she said to make that man blush.
I don't want to know.
I do. I desperately want to know. I think
also probably blush.
I think it will be filthy and beyond, and I might need therapy because of it. But like, I also need to know.
I get that. I totally understand that. Unfortunately, we'll never know because this man just spontaneously combustion lights on fire. And she goes, I always thought that was a myth.
And then Eric McCormick is playing pool and he goes, that man's on fire. Yeah. That's it.
Everyone's nonchalant about this guy just catching on fire in the middle of a bar. And I was like, that is not the reaction.
That is the kind of bar I need to go to.
I do not want to go to that bar. I would not have a good time. I would not have a good time at all. Whew. Don't love it. So now we're back at Joy. There is some more normalcy in the world, thank God. And Joy is, again, having a real conversation with Reggie. And I'm like, who are these people? And she starts talking to her about going on a date and everything. And she's like, why are you having him come over? She's like, it'll just be nice to like, and she's like, you just want to see it. And I was like, Reggie, I was like, look how adorable you are. You're just being a daughter. Like,
yeah.
And then she says, when was your last date? And she was like, it was 20 years ago. And then I was like, what about that time she went and had wine with Angelo though, before now? That was like a week ago.
No, but I don't think she was considering it a date, really. She was just, I mean, it was.
Messed up.
Yeah, but she didn't really know what it was.
Yes. I mean, they had wine.
Wine a lot.
On a rooftop where both of you are interested in each other and it's not a date.
That has happened, yes.
That has not happened to me. Real hard about it. It's not happened to me. But I have only had wine on a rooftop like once in my life.
Granted, I had wine on a rooftop at a party. It was not me alone with the guy.
That's different.
He was interested in me. I could have been interested in him, but I was angry at someone else.
Been there.
And then I later grew to regret that decision.
Well, you know.
He's a lawyer.
Can't trust a lawyer. Oh, wait. Is this the guy you liked better was the lawyer or the other one?
No, the guy who liked me was a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Lawyers are great. We'll argue anything. We can find you a yes. We'll find you a yes. And he's good. Excellent. I'm sure he's wonderful.
Yeah, he's a great person.
Yeah. So then she so at first I thought she was going to go out with this delivery guy because of how it was going. And I was like, why is she doing it? Then I realized when Angelo showed up, I was like, oh, she's going out with Angelo. She's making good decisions. Good things are happening for Joy. All right. And
we approve.
Before Reggie says something about kissing him, she's like, she said, you haven't kissed anyone but Dad? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, do you think you forgot how?
Honestly,
how it works.
Do you ever just think that though? Do you ever like realize it's been so long? I don't know if I actually know what I'm doing anymore.
I mean, I think that about a lot of things in life. So yes. Yes, to answer your question. Today, I worked in royalties for 2 years and we have to type in like the FTP number. And Sadiq asked me for it today and I realized I couldn't remember it. It's been a month since I've done that. I did it for 2 years. It has now been 1 month and I had forgotten it already. So yes, I all the time think I've forgotten things that I should not have forgotten. Cool. But yep, that's just me. But I learned at 23andMe, I do not have the Alzheimer's gene, which is a bonus because the rest of my family has Alzheimer's. So
I have not done a 23andMe DNA test because I'm terrified that it will tell me I have all of the diseases.
I do not have the BRCA gene. I do not have Alzheimer's gene.
That's good. I probably
there were a
have
lot
both.
Of things you probably do not have either, but that is fine. It did tell me I should have had freckles. Like I should have had freckles all over. I was like, you are confused.
I do have freckles.
Yes, I do not. I know it's kind of hard to see in a YouTube video, but I do not. I have like 4 freckles like on my body. Like I'm not covered. Most of the other stuff was right though. My mom got it for me for my Christmas present, so that's why I did it.
I tried to get it for myself for my Christmas present, and my parents told me that I was just selling my DNA to the government.
I mean, probably, but they probably already have it from somewhere else is my thought. I'm a little cynical when it comes to stuff like that. I'm like, they have everything of mine already. What does it matter? So we go back to Rube, and he's found the birth certificate for his daughter, and it's just so sad.
It is, but important detail.
Mm-hmm.
It has it has his daughter's birthday, and it has his age. So we know that Rube was 49 in 1925.
Mm-hmm. Back when coffee was 5 cents.
Right. Which means that he was born in
1883.
Hold on. Sorry, math is hard.
Pause. We're doing mental math.
No, 49 minus 25 is 24, and then 100 minus 24 is 76. So he would have been born in 1876. Sorry, it worked so much faster when I said it out loud instead of trying to.
That was very fast.
Yeah.
Fast math.
I used to teach 3rd grade math.
I just guessed a year. I didn't even try. What are you doing? What is happening right now?
Trying to figure out why my fingers are the color that they are on the screen.
Oh,
got it. Yep. Sorry. I've lost my mind. Yes.
That's fine. We're doing great.
So he was born in 1876. So in America was only 100 years old.
And he's like, you see, these boxes are so much easier. And Joey says, sure, but there's no internet porn. And Rube just looks at him and he says, you smoke a lot of marijuana, Joey?
Not at work.
Not till after work. I'm like, okay. You've clearly had a bit too much, dude. It lasted a little longer than you expected. So then we go back to Daisy. God bless her. Daisy and Will have great chemistry, and this is to their acting credit. They are both having really good back and forth, and this is I do think Daisy's probably one of the best actresses on this show.
Yeah.
But this is just one of those moments that stood out where it was like, she's working with like a well-renowned actor at this point, and she's holding her own. Like they both did so well together in their scenes. Mm-hmm. And I hate him for being a jerk, but I love seeing their scenes together because they're
No,
so.
I don't though, because all I can think about is how awful Mason feels. That's all I can think about. The whole time they're flirting,
I am
I'm
so
just
sad for Mason.
I'm just breaking for Mason.
I know. It's and then speaking of, George and Mason show up at the bar, which is another good part where I feel like we started doing this last episode. I guess we're continuing on where they're connecting the pieces instead of just jumping around.
Yeah.
Like they bring George and Mason into where Daisy's already at instead of having
Yeah, well, and they've done that for a couple episodes. Like I think the
yeah, they've done it.
the VIP rape was probably the first
Yeah.
one.
But it's just like, why did we wait 20 episodes to do this? Like this is so much more cohesive than how they did it in the beginning. And I just it's so noticeable because they didn't do it at the beginning that they do it now. And it's so much better, it feels like. And
also, you called Aaron McCormick Will, and that is not his character's name in this episode.
I call him Will a lot in my notes.
Yep. His character's name is Ray.
Yes, because he walks up and he says, "Hi, I'm Ray." George just says, "F you, Ray."
Yep.
And I literally like I watched this episode on Friday. Probably laughed it. It's been a few days. I watched it again today and started laughing at work. And I was like, I just couldn't. It was so funny. Like, and they talk about the guy catching on fire, and George just says, "There's one less man in the world," and she's just so matter of fact about it. I was like, "You're not wrong.
Not wrong.
Not wrong." I mean, I didn't see anything that this guy like had done that made me want him to burn alive, but like
his whole kind of general demeanor seemed like he's probably said something to a woman that would make me want him to burn alive.
He probably deserved it. I just didn't see anything that showed me that.
Fair enough.
But if I had to guess, he probably did deserve it.
Yeah.
And so Daisy's talking about it, and Daisy calls her Curious George, and I thought that was so cute when she was talking about George.
Yeah.
I do not even remember the reference. I just know that she was like,
oh no, she was introducing them to Ray, and she just called her Curious George.
And I thought it was so cute. And poor Mason. I just put poor Mason a lot in my notes.
I did too. My note literally just says poor Mason.
I have a star. It says poor Mason. Because that's how I felt the whole time. God bless him. So we go back to Joy, and it's the cutest scene. They go kite flying with Reggie.
Okay, it was cute, but it actually made me really sad because it was the same scene as the opening monologue, but instead of George and Clancy, it was Angelo and Reggie. And I was like, Joy's like fully just like got a new life. Yeah. But like in a way that makes me sad.
Yeah. Because like it could have been this way with Clancy. And that, you know, maybe if George, I don't know if George didn't die, because I don't know if he was in this relationship. I guess he was in a relationship before.
Yeah.
Probably. But like, that probably was the breaking point. Who knows? But it was so sad. Yeah. And I agree. It was a very sad scene because they had that sweet flashback with George enjoying Nancy, and it was cute though. And she lets go of the kite. So then we're back at George, and she's doing playing darts while she is plastered. She has had a lot to drink because she just keeps drinking everyone's things. Doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And Ray is trying to get info on Daisy. And he's like, "I'm interested in your friend." She's like, "Take a number." And then he lays out the rules of why these guys can be jerks and get away with it. They're not wrong.
Nope. I literally wrote, well, at least those reasons are all accurate.
I was angry, but they're not wrong.
Nope. I was...
Guys only want one thing. Fact. 2, they pretend to fall in love before they get that thing, and then they leave. And then the girl falls in love. Fact. And then, oh my gosh, what does this say? They could lie, cheat, steal, or murder to get that one thing.
Fact.
They will, number 4, will freely admit to it.
Yep. No, for sure.
Number 5, just like the Lord said, you can't live without us. And it just makes me want to punch every guy in the face that's ever lived.
Fuck you, Ray.
Yes. Yes. Just like George said. So, then we go back to Joy, who we adore. And she sends Reggie to bed at 7 because she wants to make out with Angela. She's like a teenager, but she's so happy.
But
and
then
Angelo brings out this picture, though, that he drew of Joy when they were on their non-date with their wine. And he says, I have one for you too, and gives it to Reggie. And she goes, oh, it's perfect. It looks just like her. It's so sad. And I was like, that is devastating.
That
Reggie,
is
Joy. Oh. And she just leans right in and makes out with him after Reggie goes to bed. Yeah. He's so sweet about it. And he's just like, I think I have to go home. And he's like, I'm just not comfortable with your child being so close. And he's like, but I've had a really great time. I'm like, you are just the sweetest human on the planet.
I know.
I love Angelo so much.
It's really difficult to go back and forth between the scenes between Ray and Angelo because like there are two types of men in this world. And everyone I know is a Ray.
Right. You find me an Angelo and you bring him to me. And then we'll talk. We'll consider it. And speaking of Ray, we're back at the bar. And Mason and Ray are hanging out, playing pool. Seems like Ray is probably hustling Mason, but we do not ever see the end of that. I assume that's what's happening. And
no, Mason won
that game.
Okay, fair.
That's why I feel like Ray's hustling, because you saw him in the beginning. He was like really good at pool.
Yeah.
And Mason's drunk and mad. He's probably not that good at pool. He's in the state.
Mason kind of seems like that person who'd be like a weird pool Rain Man because he spends so much time at bars.
Yeah. But also, like, when he gets emotional, he's not good at anything.
That's true. When he's emotional, he's bad at everything. But Mason has been dead, unaging, alcoholic, homeless for long enough that he probably is really good at pool.
That's probably true. And Ray says the line that makes me cringe so bad. He says, if it can talk, it can be bald. And I was like, God help you. I want to drown you in a river. I was furious.
Here's the thing. Then he beats this man in the face with a pool cube. And I literally go, I think Mason's in love with Ray now.
I know. I think Mason's scared of Ray now.
Yeah, no, there was some lust in those eyes.
It was a strange moment.
Mason is clearly a beta.
Oh, I know.
Like, but in a not like pathetic way, but like he's clearly a beta male in the sense that like he needs a powerful woman to like really. Mm-hmm. And so there's something about like that aggression and that like power in such an attractive man that he's just like, I don't know how I feel right now.
Right.
Like I think I'm torn between being scared of you and thinking that you might have just proposed to me. Like I don't know where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was so sad because he's telling Mason, he was like, so it seems like there's something going on with you today. He was like, oh no, she's a sweet girl, but we're just friends. And I was like, no, Mason.
Lie.
No.
Like that's when you don't lie. That's the one time you don't lie.
Right. I was like, stop it. I just wanted to smack him across the face. Ugh. So then we go to Rube. I think this episode should have been higher than an 8.0. I think it was better than some of the episodes that are rated higher.
I agree.
So we go back to Rube, and he has his wife's death certificate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so sad. I did not read it, so if you did, that'd be excellent.
I did not.
I don't even know if it had it to read it.
I don't think it showed enough.
Okay, I didn't think so either. And he's talking about it, how the records are better, and Joey walks in and he's like, oh my gosh, there's a whole box with that girl's name on it. And the box just breaks in the middle of the room because it's, 1,000 years old. And it looks like that he's like, oh my gosh, this guy looks just like you. And it's Rube.
Unwanted ad.
And if he looks just like him, then he doesn't look like whoever he's supposed to be to people.
I didn't even catch that.
You know, that's been my one complaint. Every episode, I pay attention to stuff like that. Point for me, not point for Brian Fuller, showrunner.
Well, honestly, I don't think it's Brian Fuller who's the problem anymore.
That's why I said Brian Fuller, showrunner.
Oh, okay. Well, Stephen
Godshaw.
Yeah. You dropped the ball, Stephen
Get
Godshaw.
it together.
Yeah.
So that happened. And I did say, like, why does his daughter have a whole box to herself? What did she do? Like, no one needs that big of a box. Do you know?
Well, no, I know why he's on the wanted ad.
Well, okay, yes, but I don't know why she has a whole box. That's a lot.
I don't know. I probably because of him.
Maybe.
Well, because
don't tell me what happens. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will come through this computer at you. You just sit tight. We are moving on back to Daisy and George.
Okay.
And Daisy drags George up to the stage to do karaoke. And of course, when the mic cuts back in, she's like yelling about how she lost her virginity. And then she starts singing. And I put, what is this voice?
It's her country music voice.
Okay. I'm country. That is not a country music voice. That is a weird, not great voice. So
Sounded pretty
thankfully
country
she
to me.
cut off real fast. What'd you say?
I said it sounded pretty country to me.
No, it sounded ridiculous is what it sounded. So I'm glad it didn't last very long because I was not having it. So oh gosh.
Well, in this scene, I was like mad. I said Mason was right. George is not okay. Because earlier, Mason was trying to talk to Daisy and he was like, I'm not trying to ruin your night, but George is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Daisy blew him off. And then George blew up. And I was like, see, listen to fucking Mason.
Always listen to Mason. Don't. That's not a good idea. But in this case, listen to Mason.
No, don't ever listen to Mason about money or drugs.
Right.
But always listen to Mason about other people's feelings because he's like, like insanely in tune with how the people around him are feeling.
He truly.
Yeah.
And then Daisy's talking about how she's not liking this guy, blah, blah, blah. She's been ignoring him all night. And all of a sudden he's like, let's go off somewhere. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, stupid Daisy.
She's so selfish. No,
stupid
I wasn't.
Daisy.
I wasn't mad about her being stupid. I was mad about her being selfish. Like George is clearly not okay. Mason has already told you that George is not okay, and you're worried about what guy you're gonna make out with at the bar. Like that's so unlike Daisy.
Right, and also she knows Mason's not okay.
Yeah,
like
that's
and Mason's
so
been there
selfish
for her when she's not been okay.
Yeah,
like,
that's so selfish and self-destructive, and I'm so mad about it.
Yes, I was so mad about that. And so now we're left with Mason and George. And Mason says, we're going to get over it with some petty larceny and vandalism. And
I don't remember what he said before that, though. He said something that was actually sweet, though, because I wrote, I'm in love, and I know I wasn't talking about the petty larceny.
No, he was definitely saying something about like feelings and emotions and stuff. I don't remember what. So George does not listen to Mason, and she breaks through this window of this department store, and he's just like, "That's not very shadow in the night of you." It's like, we need to talk about the shadow in the night philosophy. And I was like, oh gosh. And then she doesn't even leave. She just stays there. So then of course she gets arrested.
Yeah.
And she's arrested with these cheerleaders who have been arrested for assault and battery. They are all so
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Roxy shows up. I assume she's there to get her out. Nope. Gives her a quarter and tells her to make her one phone call.
She's like, you want to be a grown up? But my favorite was she comes in and George is like, oh, Roxy, thank God you're here. And she's like, what, you did this because of a man? And George is like, yeah. And she's like, why, have you ever been there? And Roxy said, if you haven't bought a gun or a pickaxe, it's not a real relationship. And I was like, I cannot with that. You're a police officer. Like, she just said that in the middle of the police station.
This is just another reason I'm so mad.
We deserve more Roxy. We deserve more Roxy.
Absolutely. And so then we go back to Joy, and she's been making out with Angelo, and she starts talking about George with Angelo, and she's just like all of this emotional, communicative person that she should have been all the time. I don't know what happened to her this episode. And this is when Angelo leaves.
Yeah.
Go. And I just put in all caps for the next scene. Oh my God, she called Dolores. And I mean,
I wrote, who the shit is she going to call? Oh, no. Oh, here's the thing. When Roxy hands her the quarter, I wrote, who the shit does she even call? Dolores? Then I have a note about Angelo that he's so sweet, I almost hate it. And then my next note says, I knew it.
Well, after I thought about it, I was like, who else would she have called first of all? Because obviously Daisy and Mason were no help. So like she's not gonna call them because Mason just ran off and has no money. And Roxy didn't help, and Rube is MIA. So like Dolores is all she has left.
Somehow I feel that even if all those people were there, she would have called Dolores.
Probably. Who shows up in her jousting uniform. And she says some of us have, what'd she say? Some of us have got jousting to do or something.
Something.
God bless her. I'm sure some people want to go on a date and go jousting. Everyone has their thing.
I have been to medieval times before, and it's kind of a kick-ass time.
No, medieval times is fine, but like, you're just watching.
You're watching jousting at medieval times.
I guess. I don't know, but like, her jousting is a whole different world of jousting.
Dude, you know what I want to go to? I want there to be a medieval times that is Game of Thrones themed.
I'm sure it's lovely.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Again, I haven't watched or read Game of Thrones.
What is wrong with you?
That feels like a lot of investment, and I don't have.
It is honestly, it is a lot of investment. It's a lot of emotional damage. I recommend it to everyone.
See, I gotta just like make it through life right now. So maybe another day. Check back in like 5 years. Maybe I'll give it a go then.
Okay. Yeah, when we finish Stargate. Just kidding.
Right. Absolutely. Right. We'll be halfway through then. So then we go back to Rube. And that is not a word that is on my page.
I don't have any other notes about Rube.
It's not Rube. This is when she does her typical montage. That's what that says.
Oh.
Typical montage. I don't know why I put it under Rube. But we have Rube going through the files. Mason's at the pool. Daisy's making out with Ray. And George is at work at Happy Time. And Reggie and Joy are hanging out after the date. And we have George finally giving into her life, and she's just like, I get it, it's not going to be how I want, I have to stop trying, I just have to be a girl.
And I wrote, only took you 24 fucking episodes to get there.
Too bad you only have like 5 more days of being a Grim Reaper. Sorry about it.
That's just suck.
Yeah, and that's how we ended the episode.
Yep.
So I have a couple of things.
Okay.
The birth certificate that Rube is looking at says, God bless, Czechoslovakia. But Czechoslovakia wasn't founded until 1918. In 1901, it would have been Austria-Hungary still.
Oh, for what? No. She said she was born in 1925.
No, the death certificate. Because she was born. So this was in the birth certificate was 1876. Remember, because that's when he was.
No. Her birth certificate said 1925.
You're right. So maybe the other one was a death certificate.
Yeah, but how could the daughter have been born in 1925?
Throw out IMDb. We're throwing them away.
Sorry, no, I just know because I literally paused it to read the birth certificate and write down exactly what it said. That's the only reason I was like, those numbers don't add up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then my other thing was where we talked about already, where Rube looked like Rube.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that note about the time is, I don't even know what it's in reference to, because that 1901 was not written on anything that I saw.
Correct. No, I think it's wrong.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Although I will say that their dates of when Czechoslovakia was founded are correct, but
that is good. So that's a fun fact for you guys. Just fun fact.
And now Czechoslovakia does not exist anymore.
Correct.
It split up into the Czech Republic and Slovakia, but the Czech Republic also doesn't exist anymore. They've changed their name to Czechia.
Fun facts. We are full of fun facts for you today. So who do you want to punch in the face?
Daisy. Like, I'm so mad about it.
So,
like, Roxy didn't help George out of it, but she did. She like helped her figure out how to make her own decisions, but like Daisy just straight abandoned her.
So I also want to punch Daisy, but I'm not going to pick her because you did. So I think I'm going to go with Ray.
Yeah, perfect. They can both get punched straight in the face together.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we can take their heads and use them to smack each other in the face. They're already making out.
I love it. Love it. Men.
Yep.
Who's your MVP?
It is a little harder. I'm torn between Angelo for being such a respectable, lovely man, and Dolores for kind of being like the mom friend we all need.
Yeah, fair. I'm gonna go with Crystal.
Unexpected.
I just love her so much.
Fair. Fair. Unexpected, but fair.
That's how I like to be. Unexpected and fair. All the time. Welcome to my life. Yeah, so
do you have any predictions?
Never remember to do the predictions anymore.
No, I try to remember on Wednesdays. It just doesn't make sense on Sundays because we always record Sundays when we've already watched.
I know. Daisy's gonna have a breakdown next episode because
if not, I'm gonna break down her face with my teeth.
Yeah, between her domestic abuse, her sister, her feelings for Mason, and now this new guy rolling around, who I'm sure is not gonna ever be there again. She's due for a breakdown. Mason's gonna finally confess his feelings and like be heartfelt, and Daisy's gonna listen.
That's asking for a lot.
Yeah, but we only have like 4 episodes left, so like I see it happening now.
Okay.
We're never gonna get anything with Roxy ever again.
Yeah, no, she probably won't even be in the rest of the show.
George isn't gonna have a personality anymore after this episode. We're done.
We will find out
what happens with Rube.
Why he's got a wanted ad.
And God help me if Joy and Clancy get back together.
Oh, fuck no.
God help me.
No.
Oh, I did want to say, so this episode, this is what I meant to mention earlier about Reggie. So her character felt inconsistent because it's the first time that I feel like she felt like she was 11. Like she had that youngness. And before she always seemed like she was a teenager. in her demeanor. And I know like trauma and things can make you age and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like,
okay. So I have obviously I spend most of my time around middle school
Right.
students, and I have two of my sixth graders. So sixth grade is 11,
mhm.
who have both had some pretty traumatic stuff happen in their lives. And they both often say things that I'm like, that is too mature, and then say things that are like way too immature. So like that's kind of realistic, but again, it's the things where we were talking about it, like real people, it's believable, but in characters, it's hard to understand that when we don't really have enough of their life to like buy the back and
Right.
forth.
And like I would have bought it, I think, if it was back and forth like that, but it hasn't. She's felt like a teenager and too mature until this episode.
Okay.
And I would have wanted to see this throughout. Like I would have wanted her to have a break. Like whenever they were looking at the apartments, that would have been a great time for her to like be a little more youthful because she was spending time with her mom. And
I did feel that she was a little more youthful in the apartment, like when she was running around and like excited about the dog and excited about the like. So I don't know.
But not
I
the
think
same way.
no, I think it's there. It's just not as developed as it could be.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, Joy and Reggie and Clancy have all been written so not great.
I know. I have such a problem with the characters. Like the only characters who have felt consistent, Roxy's felt consistent.
She's felt consistent, but she's felt underdeveloped.
You've seen her like 5 times,
but she's so underdeveloped.
Rube's consistent.
Yeah. Rube's story is the most intriguing part. So they have to keep
it out long.
Too long, for sure.
Too long for him not to be the main character.
Agreed. And
Daisy was very consistent until now, but if she has a breakdown next episode, I'm going to say she was still consistent.
Yeah, I don't like what she did this episode, but
either.
If it follows up with like more of this whole guilt, like conscience, like break, like the thing is, because like she was like finding religion, and then she like had the moment with the priest where she felt like she couldn't believe she lost her religion, and then she relived her sister's death. So like she's in a bad place, but I need her to like do something with it and not just turn into a crazy person.
I think this was her final like break, though. I think if they do it correctly, next episode she's going to come back from all of this. I think this was like pushing her to the edge, and she got there and was over the edge this episode. Mason's been mostly consistent. In the beginning, the first season, he waffled a bit, and I think it was the writing. I don't think it was the character.
I think Mason is probably the best written character, because even when he's doing weird stuff that like kind of feels out of place, there's always a reason for it.
Yeah.
And not to say that it's lazy, but I do think by having a character who is an addict, you kind of can get away with erratic behavior, which isn't necessarily fair, but like a lot of times when he does something weird, it's then justified by whatever he was doing. Like drug wise. Yeah. So it's a little bit lazy and a little bit easy to make him the most consistent, but I don't even just mean in that. I do think like emotionally and maturity wise, he is the most consistent.
I agree. And I think George is just a flat character. I don't know. I think
she is
at this point, I think it's Ellen Muth is a terrible actress, because I understand the concept of what they want her to be. They want her to be an empathetic teenager who died too early.
But I think part of it is her, but I really do think it's got.
The thing is, with that type of character, you have to have a really good actress.
I just don't. I think it's just that I don't like that kind of character. I don't think that character is compelling, and I don't think that character is. I think that kind of character is useful in print. Like I will say, in terms of like, I bring things back to Twilight a lot. Bella worked in the books because she was blank, because as the reader looking through her eyes, you like subconsciously put your own personality into her. Whereas in the movie, Bella was the least likable character in the movie because you can't have a completely characterless character as your main character. In film, because it's a different experience. George is the same thing where like if I was reading a book and these were the people around me and it was first person narrative and it was monologues like the way it is, I would totally be into the character. But watching her on screen, she's so non-dynamic that I just don't care.
Right. And I think like storyline wise, her character should be progressing. Her character should be having these emotions that come out that you start seeing, and they're just not there.
It's taking too long. It's taking too long, which I'm starting to understand why it was canceled, because there are things that are great. There are storylines that are interesting, but it's taking too long.
They want you to wait 2 seasons and nobody can do that. You have to give something before. Yeah. And like the only thing they've given us is bits of Daisy, but they introduced her too late in to make her the one answers for.
Well, and we don't have enough, like they teased Rube's backstory in the literal first episode. The dinner scene was either the first or second episode.
Yeah, it was the very beginning.
And now we're 24 episodes later. We still have nothing.
No, we just know that he has a wife and daughter, which we also figured out very like what beginning of the season. Like,
yeah, it's just taking too long.
Right. So I don't know. I get why it was canceled. I think it's not a terrible idea. I think it was poorly executed.
Agreed. You know what else is poorly executed? Our social media most of the time.
But you know what's really exciting about our social media? Today, we added a Reddit account.
Yes, and we added a Reddit community for the podcast, separate from any of the other show communities. We are in the Dead Like Me Reddit community, Hemlock Grove,
super fun discussions on the Dead Like Me community.
We're in the whole Kolchak community, Hemlock Grove, and we will be in whatever communities for whatever shows we go next. But we do have a separate Reddit thread just for us if you want to talk to us.
Yes.
You can still find us on Instagram and Twitter, normal places at Death and Aliens. And you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can follow me at CECloud13.
And we'll see you soon. Bye. Yeah.